Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Shadow from SG TCG, bringing you guys the final round of the Sully's Abode locals. Ended up facing a Katakuri in the finals. I won dice roll, so I chose to go second. I start with stage to draw one, and then it also buffs all my characters. And here, I'm considering on playing out that wizard guy, which will buff my characters by 2, but I decide not to, and I use this event card so I could draw another card. It could have been more beneficial to use to buff something, but right now I'm trying to give myself more options, and I at least had 2 cards to draw on my first turn, so took advantage of that. So I passed to my opponent. He is Katakuri, so obviously attach 1 Don. You look at yours or your opponent's life, and then you buff up by 1k. So with 1 Don, he basically swings for 7. He plays the O-Nami down to give himself banish and swings for 7. I take it. I don't want to waste all the counter, but unfortunately, I end up losing to Nico Robin, which would have been great to have. So here I swing 5 to his lead. He's considering on countering out since he just plays something in his life that he wants. So he chucked out 2 cards. I think he used a 0-cost event, which means he has no counter in hand at this point. And I play the Kuzan to draw another card. At this point, I have 3 2Ks, and then I have the Frankie, which the Frankie's gonna come in such clutch. Its ability is with 1 Don attached on my opponent's turn, it cannot be KO'd by effects, and it gets an extra 2,000. So it becomes an 8k body on his turn, which is great. So he swings 5 at lead. I counter out with the 2k. Swings for 8. I was about to take it, but he chose to look at the top of my life. And he's debating if he's going to leave it at the top or the bottom. He left it there. I decided to just take it. Gives me the Usopp. Usopp, I'm able to pop a body, but rarely do I use it. Might cut the card out, to be honest with you. So 6 Don. Best thing to play at this point would be that Frankie. So I just swing 5 with Kuzan to the O-Nami to get rid of it, so he can't swing at me again. Swing 6 with leader. He takes it. And then here I'm deciding on what to play next, which honestly, again, is going to be the Frankie. The most logical choice in the hand. And then I don't get to attach a Don this turn to it, but next turn he will be like an 8k body as long as I attach a Don on him on my opponent's turn. So again, with leader ability, all my characters on the board gain an extra 1 cost. So Kuzan is currently a 5, and Frankie's currently a 7 right now because it's the stage card, which in this matchup also benefits me because yellow runs a lot of, KO cards like Raigo, O-Nami, Egghead Luffy. So buffing the characters actually gets me out of range for a lot of these cards. So Kuzan, would be popped by an Egghead Luffy normally, and now it doesn't. The only thing that can pop it at this point would be an O-Nami out of life, or potentially a Raigo. So he ends up playing a 7 mom here. I ended up giving him a life. I didn't want to lose too much of it. I figured I'd be able to get rid of his board this turn. He also looks like he triggered an Okiku. I didn't realize it, and I was going on my little rant there. So I do have the Sanji in hand, and I have the Kuzan. So all it's going to take is a swing to reduce the Big Mom down, and then I can pop it with the Sanji from hand, which is why I like that Sanji a lot. So I'm reading the cards because this is my first time playing it. But that is honestly the best thing to do in this turn would be to swing at the Kuzan, pop the mom, and try to give the Okiku, which would give him an extra life. But I am able to, clear the board and only take 1 swing next turn. Unless he's playing like Rush NL. He wouldn't swing at me twice. So my opponent's trying to figure out how the Kuzan gets the buff. Again, the stage only buffs Straw Hats, so it doesn't work on the Kuzan. Only my leader ability would work on Kuzan. So, only drawback, I wish the stage did hit everything on the board, but that would be too overpowered, and you would want to run that in black. Because it's also a draw card. Especially with Lucci losing stage, it'd be a little nice tech. So I attach it on to the Luffy and attach it on to the Frankie, now making the Frankie immune to my opponent's KO effects on his turn. So I swing 6 at the Okiku, -4 to the Big Mom, which now puts it in range to pop for the Sanji, because Sanji can KO a 5 cost or less as long as I have a 6 cost on the field. So here he's considering on opting the counter to keep the Okiku. If he does, which is what he's doing right now, he counters out with the Egghead, I would basically just swing at it again. So swing again, triggers the effect, gets another life, putting him at 6 life now. Going backwards, not the way I want to go, but it is what it is. So Sanji plays, KOs the Big Mom, and now I swing 7 at life. Luckily, there was no trigger on that hit. But, you know, Katakuri, you always want to be wary swinging into Katakuri, because a lot of the decks now have turned into running a lot more triggerable bodies. And I could swing out with board, you know, a little sneak peek, but you can swing out at board and potentially there's 3 to 4 bodies popping out, and then he's swinging at you for lethal. So you never know, or potentially even a Beji in life. He's currently at 9 Don. This is where it gets a little scary, because now he's gonna swing for 10. At this point, he's swinging at the Kuzan, which is a good choice, because the Kuzan, if he leaves it on board and decides to play a 10 mom, I could reduce it and potentially pop it again. But I would need like a Suru or an Ice Age or something else, because Kuzan only minuses it by 4 and gets it right out of range for Sanji. So again, I want to switch this list up a bit, but I think this deck has some type of potential. At least for a little off local, you know, non-meta scene would be cool. So he plays the Egghead Luffy. Again, this thing cannot KO any of my bodies, so it's just, at this point, a vanilla. He could trash it to draw, but that's about it. But he also needs to be down to 2 life. So yeah, right now it's just a vanilla card. Here, I'm at 10 Don. I'm considering on playing the Isho out, because I thought this would be the best play. So I end up attaching Don to the leader to buff my board up by 1, and then Frankie sees immune. I swing 6 at life. Here, I'm trying to get him to bait out his life to get his hands up to 6 cards total, so I can Isho it here. But I think he ends up just triggering out bodies. Yep, ends up getting a Neko Momushi, which I believe if you attach it down, you can attack active characters, which is a great card. Really great card. I swing 7. Here, he's going to get another character off life, which is another Okiku. And then I play Isho, and then I swing 7 with leader, since now I have an 8 cost character, really a 9 because of my leader ability. Now he gets an extra 1,000. So he swings for 7, triggers another Okiku. And just like I was talking about, in one turn, he established 3 bodies from life and then plays a 10 mom. So he tries to go lethal here. I counter out for 1 on his leader swing. And he still has 4 more swings here. I have 4 in hand. He doesn't know that I have 3 event cards in my hand that have been useless this entire game. So swings 5 again. I decide to take it, and I get into stage. So at this point, I will not survive the rest of the game. So I get a Suru, swing 6. I had to take it, swing 6 again, get a Suru out of life. The only reason why I want, or got out of that turn was because of the Suru in life. So at this point, I have to go for lethal. There's nothing else I can do. I end up top decking the Rush Luffy. No counter in hand. And here I'm deciding on how to do it. He still has 3 life, and I still need to get one more swing in. So I would potentially need to get all 4 of these swings in, or opt to playing the Rush Luffy to get a 5th swing in. But I also don't know if you can trigger a Beji out of life or potentially a Sanji blocker. So there's still ways that my opponent can get out of this. But I just put all faith in the cards at this point. And you're gonna see the way I end up swinging. I swing 7 because again the Isho's on board. Here he's gonna have to give me 2 cards if he wants to counter out of this or take a life. And he counters out. And then here I'm debating on either swinging 6, 6, and then 9. So I swing 6. He ends up getting I believe it was a O-Nami trigger. But since it was an O-Nami can only pop a 5 cost. Sanji and Frankie are both currently 7s. So I attach a Don, swing 7 with the Sanji, goes through swing 9, and he ends up taking it, which is perfect. I wanted to bait this out so that now I can play the Luffy, and it would gain a rush since it'll be a 10 cost. And I'm going to go for lethal, and it ends up going through. It only has 9k counter exact. So if you guys like the content, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment down below what you guys thought, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.